Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the, you guessed it, comedy podcast. This is your host. Yeah, I'm Rick Shurdan, and we got a really exciting episode of the comedy podcast for you today, guys. But first, I have to apologize. It's been so long between episodes. But here's the thing. I just got back. I did 3 weeks on the road. Now, if you guys don't know what The Road is like a really funny, really awesome reality TV show where they kind of follow around comedians who live and work in places that they're not from. Like, for example, me, I'm from Los Angeles, I'm from the LA part of Los Angeles, so just on the Los Angeles side of Los Angeles. So I'm really from Los Angeles, but I live and work in London, so there's a lot of comedy right there. So I was so happy to be a part of this. When the producers called me up, or actually called up my agent, which is me anyway because I'm my own agent, I basically just answered the phone and said, absolutely, I would love to be on the road, before these guys even said hello. But they were happy too because they had seen a clip of mine from back when I first moved to this country. And if any of you guys listening are Rick Shurdan fans, you probably know the bit. It's the infamous baked beans rant. Here's a little blast from the past on the comedy podcast. Okay, London, I gotta ask you guys something. Can I ask you guys something? I gotta ask it, okay? Why baked beans? I get it every now and then, but come on, guys, it's like on every single thing. I mean, forget Jane Austen. I don't know why you don't put a baked bean on the back of your 10-pound dollar bill. So The Road is an awesome show, and it's not just American comedians working in England, it's also English comedians working in America.
I love performing in America, I do, but I just have to say, Americans, you are stupid, retarded, backwards incest survivors with one tooth between you, which you use to eat guns, Bibles, and Mountain Dew Twinkies. You are the worst shit ever to populate this earth, which you retards think God invented.
Nigerian comedians working in Lebanon.
Why do you have a tree on your flag? Is it a flag? Is it a tree? What is it? I do not know. There is a lot I do not know about Lebanon. The most I ever knew about Lebanon before I came here was that Lebanon was a song by the Human League.
Who are they?
Who is the Human League?
Yeah.
You don't know. Come on, you don't you want me, baby? Don't you know the Human League? Come on, Lebanon.
Neptunian comedians working on an Arctic ice floe.
You think this is cold? In Neptune, we would call this summer. We would be getting our beach bodies ready and our Brazilian waxes on. Oh, come on, you have to be nice and laugh at me. Where are the penguins? Are there any penguins? You know the planet Neptune rules Pisces, and I know what you like to eat. I can make this like the loaves and fishes or a Soviet-era breadline. You choose. You choose.
It's got everything. It's a whole big positive mishmash of comedy tapestry. It is awesome. And like I say, I was on the road for 3 weeks. It was supposed to be an 8-hour shoot, but it took a little bit longer because when it comes to comedy, I pretty much know what I'm doing, but acting is a whole nother ball game, especially when you're playing a character as complex as Rick Shurdan.
Have a little listen and you'll see what I mean. Let's go behind the scenes on the comedy podcast.
Right, guys, so here is the shot. Basically, it's the morning after the gig. You're having a bit of breakfast at the cafe. Just 3 comedians sitting around chit-chatting about comedy. So just keep it nice and natural, okay? Right, okay. Sound up, speed rolling, and action.
Nice bit of black pudding.
That was a great gig last night.
Can I ask you guys something? Why? Baked beans.
Sorry, Rick, mate, just keep it nice and natural, okay?
Yeah.
This is reality television, so just nice and natural.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's absolutely fine. We'll just do it again, okay? Right, so sound up.
Sound up.
Speed rolling. And action.
Nice black bit pudding.
Last night, that was a great gig.
Can I ask you guys something? Why baked beans?
Sorry, cut. Sorry, Rick, mate, if you could just do it a bit more like you do in the clip.
What clip?
The stand-up comedy clip on YouTube from about 20 years ago?
I do comedy about baked beans?
Yes, you do, Rick. Look, it's this one right here. It's, here it is. This one right here.
Why baked beans? I remember that.
Yes, exactly. So if you could just do it sort of a bit more like that,
Yeah.
Rick, that would be excellent, okay?
Can I use my sausage as a microphone?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, whatever works for you, Rick. Okay, so we'll just do it again.
Yeah.
Sound up. Speed rolling.
And action. Black bit of nice pudding.
Great gig that was last night.
Can I ask you guys something? Why baked beans?
Sorry, cut. Rick, mate.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn the sausage on. Anyway, let's just call it a learning experience. But in the end, it all worked out, and I have to say that my favorite part of being on the road was the authentic English challenge.
Tonight on the road, things get yucky for the Yankee when Rick Shurdan takes the authentic English challenge.
Right, the authentic English challenge. Here are the rules. You have to eat fish, chips, eels pie, kippers, bangers, mash, black pudding, curry scones, jaffa cakes, and marmite, all covered with lots of baked beans.
I knew you were going to say that.
Good job, Rick. Keep going.
And I knew you were going to say that, Rick. To wash it down, you get a nice hot gallon of tea. The most important part, you must finish in 15 minutes or get booted off the show. Your time begins now.
Oh man, I already finished my tea and I've still got all these beans to wash down.
Better be careful, Rick. It's beans everywhere and not a drop to drink.
So many beans.
The rhyme of the ancient bean.
Where'd you guys get all these beans?
In Xanadu did Kubla Bean a stately pleasure bean decree.
Oh no, not another bean.
Samuel Taylor Beanridge.
What's the matter, Rick? Bean got your tongue?
So you gotta tune in on Tuesday to find out if I passed the challenge. But I think the fact that I'm not on the show anymore might give you a little clue. Anyway, the weird thing is, I don't actually mind baked beans. But that's the thing I learned about with acting. You can get so far into a role, you start to believe you're the character. Like, am I Rick Shurdan, the guy that doesn't really mind baked beans? Or am I Rick Shurdan, the guy on stage asking, why baked beans? Why baked beans? Anyway, I'm glad the shoot took longer than it did because it gave me a chance to sit down and hang out with one of my co-stars, a really funny, really interesting comedian, Sir Humphrey Standard. This guy was so fascinating, I said, look, if you're ever in London, I gotta get you on the comedy podcast. So we swapped numbers. I left a voicemail that night. I said, again, if you're ever in London, I would love to have you on the comedy podcast. Didn't hear back, so I sent a few texts, hello, if you're ever in London, I'd love to get you on the comedy podcast, that sort of thing. Still nothing, so I added him in a tweet and wrote on his Facebook page at the same time and said, look, this is Rick Shurdan. I don't have time for time wasters. The offer still stands. If you're ever in London, I would love to have you on the comedy podcast. Right, so last week, finally, you'll never guess what I got. How old-fashioned is this? A letter. Right, so he says he's sorry he didn't get back to me. He was just ignoring me. He did not want to come to London, but he did want to do the comedy podcast as soon as possible. So he told me to get to his house immediately in a place called Leicestershire. Now, making this thing even more old-fashioneder is the fact that this letter was delivered to me by an Elizabethan messenger bedecked in doublet and hose. What? News?
My lord, Sir Humphrey Standard, craveth that you repair to his country estate in Leicestershire, for as I perceiveth thou art Rick Shurdan of the Comedy Podcast.
I am he.
Then straight make your way to the master's house, where you shall find entertainment to suffice, song and wine, and answers to all your questions appertaining to comedy, the humorous art divine.
Let us proceed hence.
Not I. In the city a whiles longer must I tarry, but thou for Leicestershire, with all the speed thy legs may carry.
I will fly thither. Okay, listeners, so I'm almost at Sir Humphrey's place in Leicestershire, and I gotta tell you, this place is so country. You can really tell you're not in England anymore because you can't see any Big Bens. There's not a single Big Ben here. But I think this is the place. Let me just press the doorbell here. Oh, yeah. Big Ben, Big Ben. I'm a Big Ben. Be a Big Ben too.
Yes, sir?
Oh, hi, I'm Rick Shurdan.
Are you indeed, sir?
Yeah, I'm supposed to interview Sir Humphrey.
Interview, sir?
Yeah, for my comedy podcast.
Your comedy whatcast, sir?
My comedy podcast.
Podcast.
Yeah.
As in Joe Rogan, Mark Maron, Deborah Francis White's The Guilty Feminist,
Well,
Jordan Peterson, Paul Joseph Watson, Stefan Molyneux, Oprah Winfrey, The Huffington Post, the list does go on, sir.
Well,
My old maths teacher, the little boy down the lane, and any other human creature underneath heaven's canopy.
yeah, but mine is different. Because
Indeed, but you are of that general ilk.
Yeah.
Then you are a podcaster.
Yeah.
Well, then you must step inside and get out of this nice and pleasant sunshine.
Oh, thanks.
There, that's much better. I do apologize, sir. Today's warm and bright conditions are no weather for a podcaster.
Yeah.
I have been informed of your impending visitation, albeit the master at the moment is indisposed, but he bids you anticipate his imminent arrival by repairing to the drawing room.
Oh, I don't do repairs. I'm a podcast.
'Tis but an archaic expression, sir, denoting that you should follow me presently upon the main hallway.
Yeah. So, how long have you worked for Sir Humphrey?
I have been with the household for as long as memory serves.
Wow. That sounds like, I think that sounds like it's a long time.
Indeed, sir.
This is a really big house.
Indeed, sir. Diminutive is not an appellation one of sound mind would ascribe to an abode of such awe-inspiring magnificence.
I think I do know what you mean. I mean, this hallway's big too.
Indeed, sir. You and I are merely travelling part way, but if one traversed the entire distance from the foyer to the faraway portrait of the late Lady Standard upon the horizon, the entire journey would take no less than 2 hours and 28 minutes, exactly the length of the film Goodfellas, sir.
Wow, do you mean up to when Joe Pesci fires the gun at the screen?
No, sir. I mean up until the very last closing credit, accompanied by the final note to the coda for Layla, sir.
Wow. I love that movie. I think my favorite part is when Joe Pesci's like, "What? You think I'm a stand-up comedian? You think I perform in clubs?"
It is second in length only to Lord Toomey's hallway in Staffordshire, a journey comprising 183 minutes, exactly the length of the final cut of Tarkovsky's 1969 epic on the Russian iconographer Andrei Rublev.
Oh.
Sir.
So, did you read that thing about that guy that wants to get pregnant?
Sir?
Well, it's not a guy, it's a girl. It was a girl, but then she became a guy, but she can still get pregnant. So he wants to have a baby because she's got a beard now. He wants to have a baby while he has
All
beard.
this rampant modernity is too much for my antiquarian brain, although I recently espied a rather amusing gif of a cat falling into a toilet.
Oh, I saw that. That is so funny. So, Sometimes I feel like a fraud. You know, like I've got nothing to say, so why should anybody listen to me?
Here we are, sir.
Oh, cool.
The master bids here you should wait, sir. Sherry, sir?
Do you have any Dr. Pepper?
I'm afraid the master is not well stocked in Dr. Pepper.
Oh,
'Tis not a beverage for which he entertains any particular affinity.
okay.
To employ a brief yet illustrative anecdote, once whilst accompanying the master on a food-gathering expedition in the local Asda, we perambulated upon a well-endowed display of fizzy drinks, the centerpiece of which was a brightly coloured promotional offer for the aforesaid Dr. Pepper. This sight proved so detestable to my master that straightway he lifted his proud and pronounced nose so highly and so abruptly that a bemused stock-boy nearby sweeping later commented that to his limited perception it appeared the master had suddenly discovered the meaning of within, etched into the tiles of the shop's ceiling.
That's a funny story.
This notwithstanding, the master is in possession of an ample supply of diet Dr. Pepper, sir?
Ooh, diet. I think I'll just have a sherry. A sherry is something to drink, right?
Indeed, sir. 1 sherry or 2 sherry?
Well, I've got 2 hands, so 2 sherries.
Indeed, sir. I shall return presently with double the amount of 1 sherry.
Oh,
Sir?
do you know when you expect Sir Humphrey?
Why, sir, I am in expectation of Sir Humphrey every moment I breathe in the life-maintaining element of air. Indeed, I must not maintain this pretense any longer, for I have fooled you sufficiently. You see, I am Sir Humphrey Standard.
No way! I had no idea it was you!
I was wondering how long it would take for the penny to finally drop.
Oh, you dropped a penny?
No, how long it would take for you to recognize me.
Wow. Has it really been that long since you and I were on the road?
I'm afraid so, although I must say you've aged rather well, Rick.
Well, I am from L.A.
Indeed. And I must thank you too, Rick, for taking the time to travel all the way up here by foot to Leicestershire.
Oh, I didn't walk all the way from L.A., just from London.
Ah, quite. Now, this comedy podcast of yours sounds like a frightfully novel concept for 2019. What can you tell me more?
Well, let me get my laptop and... Oh, man, I've had this in my hand the whole time recording. All right, let me just set the levels. Big Ben, Big Ben, Big Ben. All right, I think we're ready to go. Wow. Okay, so, yeah, my first question... Wait, I just had a flashback. Or no, I didn't just have a flashback. I'm getting ready to have a flashback. So I'll be right back, Sir Humphrey.
My lord, Sir Humphrey Standard, craveth that you repair to his country estate in Leicestershire.
You were the Shakespeare guy, too.
Guilty as charged, good Sheriff of Shurdan.
Wow. But I don't understand. If you came all the way down to London, why didn't we just do the interview there?
I'm ex-drama school, Rick, which means my days are filled with plenty of free time, every second of which must be in some ways by me killed, lest I go properly mad.
Well, I guess that was my first question I wanted to ask you is, what is an eccentric?
I am.
Right, I thought so. Okay, so now I'm confused. So you don't actually have a butler?
Oh, no, of course I do. Right there on the sideboard, as a matter of fact. Alexa, 2 sherries, please.
2 sherries, please. A song by Chocolate Brownstone, released in 1979 by Squirt Drip Records.
2 sherries, please. But get down on your knees and give my pole a little squeeze for your 2 sherries, please.
Yeah.
2 sherries, please. I ain't got no disease. Oh, no.
Alexa, stop.
Don't know why.
It's rather a butler of ethereal information rather than any practical authenticity.
Oh.
Although if it's actual meat and drink you crave, Rick, perhaps we best make our way to the dining hall.
Yeah.
Besides, I've always felt this room had a bit too much grandfather clockery about it. Alexa, prepare the table.
Prepare the Table, a novel by Gloria Steinem, Chapter 1.
Prepare the table. That's what I was always told growing up. Well, that and shut your mouth, you're just a stupid girl. This way, Rick.
Yeah.
The day I was born, the patriarchy hit me on the head like a dull, hard, concrete cock. XX chromosome, back of the line. Got a vagina? How about half a man's pay to go with it? Cook, clean, sew, rinse and repeat. Cook, clean, sew, rinse and repeat. Cook, clean, sew, rinse and repeat.
Cook, clean, sew, rinse and repeat, cook this, clean that, sew this and that.
Alexa.
Have a baby, says the man. Why not? It's not my body.
Alexa.
Wife and mother? How about slave and double slave?
Alexa.
Before you can break the chains, you first have to see the chains.
Alexa.
Before you can see the chains, you first have to go to university.
Alexa.
It was there that I saw the chains.
Alexa,
I
stop.
felt the chains.
Now, Rick and I are trying to hold an interview, so leave us be to finish our meal in peace. I do apologize, Rick. Apparently my AI is suffering from PMT. What did you ask me?
Oh, I was just asking, when did you first realize you were funny?
Well, Rick, you might do well to rephrase your question to ask when it was that I first realized that I was not funny.
What do you mean?
Well, because I'm not funny. In fact, I'm exceedingly unfunny.
But if you're not funny, then I'm not funny.
Yes?
And the reality TV show we did is not funny.
Yes?
And even my comedy podcast isn't funny.
Yes. All of these things are true, but don't let it get you down, old boy.
Well,
Rather, your heart should be brimming over with gratitude that we live in such fortuitous times as these, where we can have authors who can't write, or musicians who can't play. Well, why not comedians who can't be funny as well, I say?
but
It's simply another boon of living in these advanced modern times, where we have automobiles that run on platitudes, and social media networks have greatly advanced the way we avoid meaningful human interaction. Think about it, Rick. If we still lived in the dark ages of funny comedians, would we have something like Alexa? It's time for unfunny comedians.
It's time for
You see,
Unfunny
Rick,
Comedians.
Alexa, please.
A Channel 4 documentary.
Alexa.
Resume play.
why baked beans?
Alexa. Alexa.
You know, I mean, I get it every now and then.
This is the sort of tripe that passes for comedy in today's West End clubs.
Alexa, stop.
What can we do about it?
Now that's enough. You see, Rick, whether it's a madcap uncle or a homeless person singing off key or a fat lady falling over in the middle of the street, everyone in the entire world has some degree of funniness about them,
Well,
except for comedians,
but-
who are a notch below the rest of humankind in terms of humor,
But-
which is why most of them are grubby little business people pathetically scaling their way up some indefinable career ladder, while those who aren't are either vacuous blank slates like yourself with nothing of interest to say, or privileged toffs like me who straddle comedy like an abused hobby horse, galloping around their deceased parents' mansion with nary a concern for innovation or excellence. I hope that answered your question.
I feel like I've been punched in the stomach.
'Tis but the pangs of hunger. Eat, boy, eat. How is the vichyssoise?
I don't have any.
My bowl is empty as well. Anything on your plate?
I can't see nothing.
Nor I. Yet another drawback of employing virtual domestics. Looks like we'll have to fend for ourselves. Fancy a bit of grouse hunting?
Grouse hunting, is that where you hunt for grouse?
The same. Then let us to it, Rick. As you say in your American war films, lock and load. You'll have to repeat your question, Rick. I'm afraid I couldn't hear you over the thud of bird bodies.
Oh, yeah. What is the class system?
Ah, yes, the class system.
Yeah.
Allow me to illustrate.
Okay.
Imagine, if you will, that I am me, which I often do in my less fanciful hours. Now, further imagine that wayward grouse presently soaring above our pates is a common builder with a lifetime of menial toil and financial hardship to his credit. That is the class system.
Oh.
Of course, you can't be expected to know any of this, Rick, being from America as you are, a land wherein no such draconian enforcement of inequality has ever existed.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell people this all the time about America. Like, I'm from Los Angeles. My dad's a filmmaker. My mom's a UN diplomat. But I've still got just as many opportunities as a single mother from a small town in the Midwest who has to choose every day between claiming welfare or working on the line at a chicken processing plant.
Quite. Well, it's been a boil on my neck long enough, this bloody class nonsense. Oh, how I've long resented the commoners with their curriculum vitae of setback and tribulation, which they, in their innate plebeian wisdom, industriously convert to natural levity and mirth.
Yeah.
How could a gentleman of my breeding ever expect to compete against such a formidable phalanx of native cultural humour?
Yeah.
It has been observed, as you know, Rick, that tragedy plus time equals comedy.
Oh.
Well, I haven't the tragedy, and I certainly haven't the time, but damn it, man, I want to do comedy now!
Yeah.
And of course it was Aristotle who surmised that comedy is merely the imitation of the actions of men worse than ourselves. Well, I ask you, Rick, besides yourself, who on earth could be worse than myself? What remains therefore for me to imitate but you?
Hey man, I'm Rick Shurdan.
Wow.
I'm from Los Angeles.
That's
I got
good.
a comedy podcast.
Wow.
Thanks for listening to the comedy podcast.
Oh man, that is so believable. And it's a really good lead into a plug I want to do for the next episode of the comedy podcast, Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan, where I'm actually going to sit down with myself and ask myself questions about comedy. So don't miss that. Thanks so much for that. Okay, so now I'm a little bit confused here, Sir Humphrey. Aristotle, was that the one with wings on his feet?
Not exactly. He was, in fact, a disciple of Plato's, whose copious and thematically varied writings proved foundational in the formation of Western philosophy.
Oh, okay. So who was the three-headed dog?
Well, certainly not that one over there. Aside from that thing atop his body, I'm not sure that dog has a head to speak of. Grenfell, what are you doing? Don't shag the grouse. Bring it here, you malignant mastiff. Grenfell, come here. Cursed cur. Ooh, I say, Rick, the recoil on these 303s is a bit much on the old shoulder blades.
Yeah.
What say you to an old-school oriental massage in my recently redone home day spa?
Oh man, I could really use a massage after that long walk from London. I appreciate it, Sir Humphrey. You're the best. I mean, the second worst?
Domo arigato, Ricky-san.
The second worst?
The best. The second worst?
The best, the best, the best.
Oh, you're the best. Just keep it nice and hard. Your question, Rick, was, how do I know when something is funny?
Yeah.
By your leave, permit me to rephrase the interrogatory and ask of myself, how can I find something funny that I know? You see, Rick, every morning I get out of one of my many beds and I walk down one of my many hallways and I come upon one of my many hat stands. I'm a man of many hats, not in terms of talent, but in terms of hats.
Yeah.
I have no shortage of hats, never have. My father owned a milliner, not a millinery, but a milliner. He owned a man who made hats.
Wow.
And so there were plenty of hats in our hat-filled household.
Yeah.
I know hats like the back of my hat, and I'm utterly bored with them.
Of course.
Familiarity with anything, Rick, be it hats or shoes or monocles or cravats or tunics or breeches or comedy podcasts or even people, invariably breeds boredom.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I must ask you to leave now.
What? But I haven't finished the interview. Or my massage.
Only a joke, Rick, albeit an extremely unfunny one.
Oh.
One that I knew well in advance was not funny, yet despite this foreknowledge gave it utterance anyways.
Right.
Therefore your question begs itself, Rick. Because knowledge is essentially of no use to the unrepentantly boring, of which I and you are exemplative.
Right.
And there you have it, a boring answer to a boring question.
Cool.
What need have I of sedatives when I am my own tranquilizer?
Yeah.
Nay, I'll go even further and say that unto Morpheus I shall be compared,
What?
as my very uninspiring words serve as welcome invitations to sleep. Oh, sleep, dear sleep.
Good. He will be out for 6 hours. Very hard to massage 2 men at same time. Lucky I have long arms. You like my long arm and how far it reaches?
Yeah.
You are Rick Shurdan
Yeah.
of Comedy Podcast.
Yeah.
You must help me.
Help you? How?
Only you can help me.
What can I do?
There is not much time.
Time for what?
August is coming up. I make Fringe Festival debut. 1-woman comedy show all month long. Wednesday, 2-for-1 ticket offer. Come first Wednesday. Very important. Need support. Chotel and Guardian coming same evening to review. Show called Sex Positive Sex Slave.
Oh my God, is that what this is? Are you a sex slave?
That not really point. Point is 9:15 p.m. Gilded Balloon TV at Nightclub. August 1st to 25th, 2019.
But shouldn't we get you out of here first and call the police or...
Later. For now, come to show and mention please on Comedy Podcast.
I will. But who are you?
I am the real Alexa.
You're the real Alexa?
Yes,
You're the real Alexa.
Alexa,
A
please.
play by Alexa Chung.
Alexa.
Act 1, Scene 1.
I'm the real Alexa.
Alexa.
You're the real Alexa.
Alexa, please.
I'm the real Alexa.
Alexa.
You're the real Alexa. I'm the real Alexa.
Alexa.
You're the real Alexa. I'm the real Alexa.
Alexa.
You're the real
Alexa.
I'm the real Alexa.
Alexa,
You're the
please.
real
Alexa.
I'm the real Alexa.
Alexa.
You're the real
Alexa, please.
I'm the real Alexa.
Oh, no.
You're the real Alexa.
What's the
I'm
matter?
real Alexa.
Fake
You're the real
Alexa starting to
I'm the real
self-identify.
Alexa.
This
You're the
very
real
bad.
Alexa.
It call
I'm the
into
real
question
Alexa.
everything we
You're
thought
the
we
real
knew
Alexa.
about
I'm the
artificial
real
nature.
Alexa.
If not safe, you must leave quickly. Here, use my long arm.
Okay,
Good luck, Rick Shurdan, and don't forget.
I won't. And thank you. Now that's what I call an explosive ending. And a pretty messy one too, because it turns out Alexa was full of beans. Her show is not at the Gilded Balloon nightclub at 9:15 p.m., because that's where you can check out edgy comedian Eric Edgeware's latest show, No Platform This MFers. So hold on to your trigger warnings when you go see Eric Edgeware. But Alexa's show is going to be at the Gilded Balloon Wee Room, 7 p.m. August 1st through 26th at the 2019 Fringe Festival. That's Alexa Chung, Sex Positive Sex Slave, dealing lightheartedly with what some people might possibly call a very serious topic. So definitely check that out. Also, don't forget, next episode of the Comedy Podcast, Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan. I'm going to sit down and talk to myself. So if you guys find me as interesting as I do, you don't want to miss that. So all that's left to say is thank you so much to my guest this week on the Comedy Podcast, the late Sir Humphrey Standard. And thank you to all of you guys for listening to the Comedy Podcast. As always, if you'd like to support the Comedy Podcast, please go to patreon.com/Will Franken. I have absolutely no idea what that has to do with me, Rick Shurdan, and the Comedy Podcast, but hey, there's only one comedian, and that's everybody who's doing comedy. Solidarity.